Hello everybody, welcome to Distance Learning Tips for Parents and Guardians. In this video, I'm going to talk about how an understanding of the school day can help you as a parent to shape your child's learning experience at home in a positive manner. Now, let's start with the typical school day and what it's like and what might be some misconceptions about what happens at school. If the average kid is at school for say 7 hours a day, and I'm talking about all different age levels, I'm going to hazard a guess and I'm going to say about 2 to 4 hours of that time is spent in active, hard learning that's right at that right appropriate level for that student. Some districts are going to be wildly different, maybe lower, maybe higher. It's going to depend on teachers, students, all kinds of other factors. But throwing everything into one big pot, let's hazard a guess that it's somewhere between 2 to 4 hours. The key point is that it's not 7 hours, and that by no way is a kid at school for 7 hours is actually grinding away at hard learning for that 7 hours. And if you think about it, there's just a lot of factors that reduce that total time in a number of ways. First of all, if you're at the high school level, you're changing classes, maybe you have 7 classes, there's 8 to 10 minutes of changing time in between classes. Right there's about an hour that's gone of the day. You've got pep fest breaks, you've got eat lunch, younger kids take recess and all these kinds of things. So there's a lot of different kind of break activities that are built into the course of a day. Then, if you're actually in a class and say you're given an assignment or a series of problems to do, maybe you're working in a pair, maybe you're working by yourself, and if they're easy, you're going to get them done fast. And if they're easy, you might not even have to think that hard at them. When you get them done, now a teacher might structure something else for you to do, but maybe they don't. So maybe you're kind of sitting there just relaxing or looking out the window. The key point is, though, that the pace at which you learn and the pace at which you get stuff done could matter how much you're staying engaged in the course of a given day. And there's all kinds of factors that go into that. And then lastly, human beings are human beings. Sometimes kids are tired. They don't feel well. They have to go to the bathroom. Something happened in the hallway or outside of class or in class, and they're stressed. There's disruptions in class that have to be managed as well. So there's tons of other factors that could take that internal state of the child away from an ability to be able to focus on the learning that's going on at that given point in time. So for all those reasons, the amount of time that a kid is actively grinding away at learning is probably a significantly amount of time less than the time they're actually at school. Now, before you go there and say, oh my God, I can't believe education is so broken, I want to ask you a question. And I know the answer to the question. The average workday for the average worker in the United States is about 8.8 hours. This is Bureau of Labor Department statistics. Of those 8.8 hours, how much of that time on average is spent in productive work? Now, if you want to stop the video and think about it or talk to a friend or something like that, that's fine. For the sake of moving around, I'm going to give you the answer. The answer is 2 hours and 53 minutes. That's right. Bureau of Labor Department statistics say that in an 8.8 hour average workday, the average U.S. worker spends less than 3 hours doing productive work. And if you think about it, honestly, I'm sure there's variance. I'm sure there's people that are grinding away 6, 7, 8, 9 hours a day. And I'm sure there's other people that are watching this video that would say, wait a second, I know what some of the jobs I've worked at. I'd be lucky if I get 2 hours of good work in during the day. So there's going to be a wide range of stuff for sure. But if you're totally honest with yourself and you think about what happens in the course of a day, how much of that time are you at work that are you actually spent grinding away at hard work? So the point is that we don't want to hold our kids to higher standards than what our adults in society are actually doing on average as well. And the reason why this happens is that active learning is very challenging. So the brain depletes of glycogen much more quickly than we think it does. It's really hard to do that for extended periods of time. So we need to manage it in ways that are sustainable over the course of a whole day. And here are some tips on how to do that. So 5 tips on managing student learning experiences, managing a school day, if you would, at home. Tip number 1. Don't be a drill sergeant. So don't expect your kid to start at 7:30 in the morning and grind away at worksheets for like 45 minutes and then take a 5-minute break and then grind away reading for another 45 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. That's completely unrealistic, and it's completely disconnected from the way the amount of productivity the average human being does at work and at school in their lifetimes. The second thing is have a reasonable routine. It's kind of an offside of like, don't be a drill sergeant. Routines help, and they're going to help kids build a habit of studying at distance. So That means maybe you schedule a half an hour of a certain activity and then you shift to something else. If the kid's younger, those times are going to have to be shorter. But try to have some kind of a reasonable pattern to the day so that kids can know what's going to happen next and that it's not going to wear them down to the degree that they won't be able to continue over the course of a whole day. With that in mind, the third tip is to have a lot of variety and breaks to hard learning experiences. So maybe a kid's working for 20 minutes and then there's an active break where they're up and doing something for 10 or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, so that there's a pattern to the day. Give them time to just do whatever they want. They need snacks, they need to eat, they need kind of time to just veg out and take a little bit of break from what's going on. So you want to balance these tougher activities with easier activities so that kids can maintain that pace over the course of a day. Now, every kid's going to be different. Some kids are going to struggle with an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours of active engagement in a day. Other kids are going to struggle with 5 or 6, or going to just fly through with 5 or 6 hours. So you kind of have to know your child. And yes, you can increase this over time, but the important thing is that you're balancing hard thinking with other types of stuff so that the brain's getting some breaks and the brain can come back engaged in what it's trying to do. The fourth tip is give kids choice. Allow them, to the degree that's possible, to pick the different things that are happening in the course of the day and what order they want to do them in. Now, of course, you don't want to make a mistake where you're going to have the kid can pick all the fun things first and then they can procrastinate all the hard things. So you get to like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and now all of a sudden the kid hasn't done anything and they procrastinate away all the difficult challenges of that day. So you want to kind of manage it in a way that's there. And I know a lot of teachers are building in choice into distance learning activities for students, but to the degree that you can, shift some of that choice and some kind of the control over what's going on to the child. And this connects to tip number 5, which is in that bigger picture of outside of just choice. To the degree that it's possible, based on your child's maturity and the child's age, try to shift the management of the learning day onto your child. And this might mean depending on how your district is setting up things for you, your child might actually have some say over when and how they study. It can be how long they want to do a certain activity, what activities they want to do in certain, and how they might build up the structure of their own day. And the reason why that's so important is that we want kids, in order to be successful in life, kids have to be developing skills at managing their own time, managing their own ability to focus, and managing their own ability to get stuff done. Distance learning is a perfect opportunity to do that because unlike school, distance learning can be a little bit more free, which allows you the opportunity to build in that management and structure of the day to the child themselves. A school-driven experience, by nature of being a school, is often a bell-to-bell experience. We kind of have to move kids around in herds if you have a traditional school environment, but you're not necessarily bound to that at home. So that might mean maybe the kid's day starts a little bit later, but it's about the idea you want to work with them and balance and building habits into that structure that give them this choice, allow them to manage it, have a reasonable schedule, make sure they're taking good, healthy breaks in between a lot of the hard thinking activities. And please, 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 whatever you do, don't be that drill sergeant because that's not how the real world works. Hopefully these tips help. If you have questions or thoughts or ideas, please feel free to put them in the comments below. I'm going to try to make more videos, more parent tip videos, parent and guardian tip videos in this series coming up soon.